Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is 3-Chord Dave, and today we're going to talk about some guitars by Fender. Kind of. Yes guys, we're going to talk about those Fender guitars in just a moment, but I'm still in shock over the price of the Epiphone Les Paul collection, which is hitting stores very, very soon. If you want to check out that video, it's up here in the cards. I put it out on Friday afternoon, and nobody else is talking about this price. This is still exclusive information, so check it out on that video there, and if you could, share it around as well so people find out how much these things are going to cost. Honestly, better be good. Anyway, let's talk about these Fenders, which are slightly less expensive, at least the one I want to focus on today. So this is a Heartfield RR, letters. And this is it's a beautiful red one. I think it looks great, and they also made it in a yellow, and both of these are just beautiful colors. I think they have that nice retro kind of look to them. They do remind me of a Les Paul Special, but I don't know, I think something would make me pick this up before a Les Paul Special, I don't know. But these Heartfield guitars were not the only ones that were made by Heartfield at the time. Of course, they had 4 different models that were the core brand. So you had the Elan, which looks like this. Now, if you told me this was a PRS, I would believe you. Definitely there's an inspiration from the old PRS factory there, come true to the Heartfield design team. And these were available also in a nice like cherry sunburst, but the green kind of got to me when I checked it out earlier. And then there was the Talon, and the Talon was this one here, and it looks a little bit like an Ibanez, and there's something to that, and we'll go into that in just a few moments. So what was happening in the 1980s was Japanese guitars were getting recognized for having superior craftsmanship and for being excellent guitars out of the box pretty much. And American guitars were starting to suffer from that whole QC problem that Gibson still haven't escaped. Anyway, yes, they were, so Japanese guitars were very, very popular. Super Strats were very popular as well, and that's what drove the Talon to be part of the line here. So Fender USA rang up Fender Japan and were like, hey, we got to do something, make some guitars out there in Japan, but like under a different brand. So they worked together. It was like a team effort, and they came up with Heartfield. And Heartfield essentially is referred to as an American-owned brand, but all the guitars were built in Japan, in different factories, not in the usual places where I believe where Fender Japan was made. So Heartfield became a thing, and had the RR, you had the Elan, you had the Talon, and there was the EX. Now the EX was a bass, so we're not going to talk about that because I don't really do basses on this channel, but, and I also couldn't get any good pictures of them, so that's why. So those are the main guitars. Now, if we go back to the RR, there was some cool features about this one. It's not just a retro beast of a guitar. It looks pretty cool. Apparently has a very slim neck, which, you know, if you've watched the channel for any length of time whatsoever, I love an SG with a slim neck, so I probably would love this guitar also. Now, if you look at the volume and the tone knobs, just underneath there are 3 buttons. But what are those 3 buttons for? Well, you've only got one pickup. So the button at the top nearest the pickup there, that gives you like a coil splitting, coil tapping, single coil sound. Then you've got the second button, and that gives you a humbucker, full humbucker sound, but there's kind of like a buffer, something to it, I don't know. But it sounds like a good full humbucker. And then you've got the third button, which is the magic one, because that's the one that activates the built-in overdrive, which it sounds really good actually, but it's, and for its day back in 1989, it was kind of an advanced feature to put in a guitar that was selling for under $1,000, I believe. In fact, right now you can pick this up with a case and everything for about $650, which I think it's a bargain, because if you were, I mentioned Les Paul Specials earlier, if you get a Les Paul Special, it'll cost you a lot more than that. So anyway, let's just not talk about that. So this series only lasted for about 4 years, and there was a couple of big reasons for that. Number one, the Super Strat, which was like the Talon, became less popular towards the mid-90s, so the sales started to decline. And also Japanese guitars were not as popular as they had been. American guitars started to become more popular again, so sales were falling off. Now, what happened was these guitars started as Heartfield, and then they became Heartfield by Fender, and then they became Fender guitars as each way was like trying to increase sales. So Heartfield weren't selling so well. Let's just say they're Heartfield by Fender. That might sell a few more. Didn't increase the sales enough. Okay, they're just Fenders. And it didn't work. It only lasted for 4 years, and then they discontinued the whole adventure. So these guitars, pretty similar to a lot of Fenders, had alder bodies. They had maple necks. They had a rosewood fretboard, and there was 22 medium jumbo frets on them. And haven't got my hands on one yet, but I think I will be looking at one of these RRs at some point in the year, because they do look really, really cool. So if I can get my hands on one in good condition, I definitely will. And guys, I would love to know your thoughts on the Heartfield series. Have you played one? Have you got one? Have you got your eye on one? Is there one in your reverb cart that you might want to pick up very soon? I don't know, but I think these are really interesting, cool guitars. And yeah, just thought I would make a little video about them just to give you some information. Anyway, guys, that's my video for today. Thanks very much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll be back to you again very soon. And until then, take care.